I think
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna see some pullbacks. We're gonna see some sideways action. But I mean, this thing has legs. If there
Yeah.
really gets momentum on either front, like these moves are going to be aggressive. This is just the start.
Hey everyone, welcome to our latest Trade to Black podcast as we recap another big day in the cannabis space. Let's welcome in the gents. Anthony Verrill, good to see you.
How's it going? Another decent, interesting day on the tape.
Interesting day to say the least. Benjamin A. Smith, former day trader and analyst. Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, good to see you guys. I echo that. Very interesting day on the tape, and we're going to talk about the factors that go into that.
Yeah, mixed bag of players that performance-wise. But let's begin. Biggest movers. No surprise over the past week. Ayr Wellness, another strong performance, up another 21%, 2.1 million in volume. Is this starting to be a stock, Anthony, that you think, regardless of how the industry performs, it's kind of separating itself as its own entity and how it's been performing the last couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, it's in a league of its own. It's outperforming the entire sector. It pretty much outperformed everyone today. I mean, the volume was almost twice today as it was yesterday, and it rallied about 6% into the close to finish up
Yeah, I saw that.
21%. Um, it's a big position of mine. I'm in the stock. I'm long the stock. I still firmly believe it's got plenty of room to run after doing research myself into the name. It's nice. I'm enjoying it and just going along for the ride.
Pretty much well said. So that, along with Jushi, what were the few other companies we touched on yesterday were the most heavily shorted stocks in the industry?
Jushi, Columbia Care, Ayr.
And that's where you're seeing the benefits right now. Ben, what are you seeing as far as on the charts right now from what we saw for the day, but more importantly, what we can anticipate heading into tomorrow?
Yeah, I thought it was I thought it was an interesting day. One of my biggest takeaways was I think actually we had a story today that actually put a sort of like a cooler on the rally, and that was the marijuana moment story.
Okay.
And obviously I can't prove this with tangible evidence, but I think that stopped the momentum at least short term because they reported that Chuck Schumer is looking to get safe banking out in over the next 6 weeks. So I think that sort of put a damper on some of the short covering rally that we've been seeing, just because if you look at like sort of the near term catalyst table, that kind of puts a halt to that over the next few weeks. Now, obviously, markets look ahead and there could be a lot more to go. It could be a pause or whatever. We're in a great situation. Anything above the 725 area is a great situation to be. I would not short the market. I'd only want to be long or buy pullbacks, but that could have provided the impetus to say, hey, look, we may have like a light news cycle over the next 5-6 weeks. Maybe we don't have to run this thing up right away, but everything is setting up for maybe a continuation. But I think at least for today, that might have put a stop to things, and we saw the market sell off after that.
Do you think we have hit a point where we're seeing a little bit of look, it's been great and everybody wants to continue it to be great, but are we seeing any signs of exhaustion based on what you're seeing?
I thought today was healthy. What about you, Ben? I mean, you were probably looking more into the actual tape than I was from a technical standpoint.
Yeah, no, I think everything I see is still healthy. Yeah, and what I just said there was just like a temporary pause that could have taken place. I think anything above about the 725 area where shorts gave up and the covering really started yesterday
Yeah.
is going to be constructive. Like there's in no way is this market shorting, or if you want to take some profits, I can understand that. If you're
Yeah.
looking to buy back, if you want to take that risk to maybe buying in the low to mid sevens, if you think it's going to go there, it's at 795 right now, so it's not too much far away to play that sort of game. But everything I see is constructive. It just in terms of today, maybe running it up. If we didn't get that news, maybe it would have finished in the mid to high eights. It's kind of hard to say, but the near term catalyst table is probably at least for 5 or 6 weeks going to be pretty light on the news side.
Yeah, I think the big thing to find out is, we won't know until it actually happens, but we are going to see a pullback. I'm curious to see what kind of pullback that we will experience. Like, do you guys think it'll be much from what we're seeing right now?
I mean, you could argue that there was a pullback today. I mean, I'm looking at my screen. I've got 50% green, 50% red.
Yeah, it's true.
It's not a big drawdown, but I mean, you've got MariMed was the biggest loser of the day at down 5%, which they rallied into the close. They were down 9% with about a half hour left. Ascend, Trulieve, Tilray, Sundial, Cronos, Grown GrowGen, GTI, Glasshouse, TerrAscend, Curaleaf. They were all red.
Yeah.
They weren't big red. They were between 0.5 and 5%. This was healthy. I mean, if we're not seeing 20% moves down and you're seeing stocks like GTI, which I'm pretty sure intraday were down about 8 to 9%. And I mean, it finished today down 2.6%.
Yeah.
That's a net positive. I mean, MSOS was in the red, came back up to the green, in the red, came back up to the green, finished the day mildly in the red. And it wasn't an aggressive move down, which was healthy.
And it was a down macro day as well.
Yeah,
so it
I
wasn't
mean,
like
that's
the S&P was up
Yeah.
1.5% or whatever.
I mean,
the market was weak from the
yeah.
get-go, and it drifted down. Qs were down 1.5% at day's end, so it's a moderately
Yeah.
negative day, and it was holding up, and it was actually holding up very well. And it looked like the rally could continue. MSOs was 830, 840 printing consistently until that story came out. That's why I think, although I don't have any empirical evidence, that's why I think that the marijuana moment story played kind of cooler today, and people said, okay, wait, maybe that news cycle. But that being said, I mean, all these catalysts are still ahead. We're only talking like 6 weeks. We're that is
6
not
weeks
far
is
away.
not-
So what I
it's
think we
nothing.
see is I think we see like a buy the dip dynamic now. So if it goes down, if we retest, which is completely healthy, that resistance that should now be support around 725, 730, and we hold that, we're setting the platform for another formidable rise, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what the guys over at MSOS are actually doing with the cash. I would highly doubt they deployed any of it today. In this market, I'm hoping they're going to be tactical and they're waiting for something like an 8 to 10% pullback across the board and then start to buy, which gets us to that pretty much that 720 number that you're saying right now, Ben. And then the feedback loop starts to hit more volume, more inflows, more cash deployed, and then we start to see new highs. But I mean, this is healthy. It's not hair on fire. It's not anything out of the ordinary. It's good to see. And there was also some strength.
I echo that too.
Yeah,
I echo
there was some
that
strength in
exactly.
some other names.
Be curious
Sorry
to see
cut you off. I echo that exactly. If I'm Dan, if I'm the fund manager, I'm not, of course, and he's doing a good job over there. But if I'm him, I might be looking to play defense after the rally. And really, the next big technical level is 725, 730 area. Hold that, and with a test or two or three, hold that. And I think there's a springboard higher, especially with safe in the fall session coming up. We're setting ourselves up for a move, beyond what we've seen so far, maybe into the 10 and beyond area.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw this. But go ahead, Anthony.
I was doing checks on my cost basis on my positions today, and I mean, MSOS has moved $3 off the low at the close today. Like Ayr is almost up; it's almost quadrupled. From where I'm from where I'm in. Like
great call, by the way, Anthony. Just an amazing call.
I'm gonna keep riding it. Like I said, it is what it is. I mean, I didn't have it this strong, but yeah, I mean, they're all Canopy. Canopy's at 80 cents right now. It was at 35 cents last week. I'm pretty sure. I mean, and Canopy's that thing. We know what it does when it wants to move.
Can you imagine where we were a week ago, mindset wise? 7 days. Look where we're at. You mentioned MSOs. It was today.
We've known this was coming. We've known this was coming. Not HHS, but safe. It just happened. They happened to parlay at the right time.
Well, they get back after summer recess. They make the announcement. The industry moves. I think a lot of sentiment and questions then asked, like, is safe banking still like a major catalyst that we need to achieve within this industry, or does rescheduling just, does it matter? What's your thoughts? Does it matter, Ben?
Yeah, I totally think it matters. I think, the same attributes that it could bring before the recommendation rescheduling, the assumption of Schedule 3 is still on the table, right? And that's a momentum. And at the end of the day, rescheduling or not, that is a major policy shift that we haven't seen in a long time. And you can't say that is not a negative, or it's not a good reason or a catalyst just because we have rescheduling. They both are. We
Yeah.
haven't had a major
Yeah.
reform catalyst in decades. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to have a profound effect, and it could provide the momentum to seal, Schedule 3 if there's any sort of doubts there on the back of that. So we could have
Yeah.
two major catalysts coming within the next 3 quarters.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Dan and Noah are in a good moods because don't look now, MSOs, it was the third highest volume day ever today, which was 19.6 million shares traded, and seventh highest dollar volume day. So big day to say the least. I'm sure those guys are happy with the change of sentiment towards the industry, but obviously they're looking forward, or at least looking ahead at how this performs as we pivot in from September heading into the fall. But some viable metrics that we're seeing right now to have a long, sustained, growing opportunity, I think, for investors.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I think this is legs. I think we're gonna see some pullbacks. We're gonna see some sideways action. But I mean, this thing has legs. If there really gets momentum on either front, like these moves are going to be aggressive. This is just the start.
Huh. Canopy
Here's the
growth.
thing to remember too, that MSOs only has about a 68 million share float or whatnot, and the amount of shares sold is about 15% of the float, which is roughly around 10.5 million shares. So if you look at the volume just over the past 2 days, where the short squeeze really started happening, I consider that yesterday, most likely when it didn't hold that technical level in the morning. We've already traded 35 million shares since then in the last 2 sessions. So
I know.
there's a good amount of covering. So hopefully, maybe if this is the pause of the short squeeze portion of it, hopefully the catalyst portion where everybody's now looking to buy and everybody's looking to deploy money on the sidelines that they have can take this to the next level. So that's kind of the way I'm viewing things right now. A lot of the short positions probably exited, at least maybe, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 million shares of that. And let's see if we get organic buying to take it to the next level next time with, Wall Street Bets or whoever.
Yeah. What was their volume like? I mean, you'd mentioned something in a tweet a couple weeks ago in the midsummer doldrum August months, but how low was it at one point last month?
I couldn't tell you that off the top of my head.
There were some days, I think, I think we saw a day that was under 350,000, if I'm not mistaken, like low 300s. I recall definitely some days in the 400,000 or 500,000 range, like not very high, not for an industry benchmark ETF.
Yeah. Canopy growth up another 17% on the day. Volume 122 million on the day. So clearly, people that love this stock, they're not going away anywhere. Canopy's going down with a fight if they're going to go down, right?
I mean, their market cap is still under 500 million. 575 million, they're sitting at market cap wise.
Yeah.
So I mean, their Tilray's got them 4-1 on a valuation perspective.
Think about that.
Yeah, but Tilray's also looking at a potential $1 billion run rate.
Moving
forward. Canopy unfortunately doesn't have that right now.
But I mean, changed.
It's impressive. I mean, we knew that Canopy trades as a proxy to this sector. I mean, we knew that Canopy more people can access than any of the other MSOs, with the exception of MSOS. And I mean, Canopy's doing what it's doing. We got a big headline for the sector. It's doubled.
Yeah.
It's just a function of where does it go from here.
Yeah. Biggest movers of the day outside of Ayr, Acreage Holdings, light volume, but up 37.5%. Forefront Ventures, which is garnering a lot of attention over the last few trading days, it was up another 6%. And Cresco Labs was up 5% on volume of 2.6 million shares. For those unaware or unfamiliar with the Forefront Ventures story, why is this garnering attention, Ben?
The Forefront story?
Yeah.
I'm unaware of any material news cycle.
Just with regards to why it's performing so well in the last couple of days.
Oh, I think it's what we've talked about. It's sort of in the same bucket with Ayr and Columbia Care. I'm not sure what the short interest is on that, but I think the main point is that some of the struggling, some of the financially challenged MSOs are the ones that are doing best. That's what you're seeing here, because the news catalysts, they're more leveraged to the news catalysts and maybe being able to deal with their debt, deal with their financial issues if they go from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. So I think the most challenged balance sheet companies are the most leveraged, and that's why you've seen the biggest moves in Columbia Care and Ayr and some of the ones that have constraints on the balance sheet.
There's also this growing sentiment online. We've had some feedback with regards to our YouTube channel. If you want to check it out, our YouTube channel is at the Dales Report. But a lot of people asking us, we need to look at sort of things on what could go wrong within this industry. And I guess obviously wrong would be not rescheduling, but we don't know whether that's going to happen or not. But if there is a decision that is made, some of the people that we've reached out to, we had some conversations last week where people were speculating Q1. We're hearing more along the lines that end of Q1, beginning of Q2, we could see a decision made by the DEA. But I guess it's a question that you guys can't really answer, but there's still a very real possibility this does not get rescheduled.
Oh yeah, very, very real. Yeah, it's very real. I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, this is politically motivated. We're going into an election year. They can't really afford to have egg on their face when it comes to this. It's a 73% socially acceptable issue in the country, but it holds weight on both sides of the aisle. I don't think HHS, like I said, that's just speculation, but I don't think HHS makes that recommendation without the DEA already having conversations with them. And I think Schumer's going to go down kicking and screaming if SAFE gets torpedoed somehow, going through the motions.
Yeah. Curious to see how that all works when the HHS recommends it and what the ongoing dialogue they have with the DEA once that announcement is made.
So someone posted on Twitter today, I didn't fact check this, so don't take this as fact, but there was a pretty educated tweet, and they had said the DEA has never denied a recommendation from HHS, with the caveat of it being a new drug, which you could argue that one way or the other, cannabis is not a new drug, but it might be a new drug under the purview of someone like the DEA and the FDA having to take in the medical aspects of it. So, that's the thing right now. Twitter is a ton of people saying things with a lot of ambiguity to them. Everyone's kind of just grasping at straws. But yeah, if that carries weight and the track record of the DEA never shutting down a recommendation from HHS, I don't want to read the tea leaves too much, but kind of tells you what could happen.
Well, I could be wrong here, but didn't the DEA look at cannabis in 2016 and decide not to reschedule it? I'm pretty sure that happened.
I don't know if it was I don't know if it was based on a formal recommendation from HHS.
Oh, I see. Okay, so maybe that wasn't a
recommendation. Yeah, like I said, this is like I said, this is all hearsay. It's simply something I read on Twitter that I found fascinating.
Yeah. That's why I kind of recommend, just on Anthony's point, I'd recommend on Anthony's point, try to stick to the facts, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of inferences that, Ann Milgram was appointed by Joe Biden. So therefore, there's no way that she can't go to Schedule 3, right?
Yeah,
and,
of course.
the Democrats need this for the election, right? Even though it's debatable whether it's really a moving election issue. Yeah. I still kind of debate that. A lot of people don't think. I'm kind of in that camp as well. So I'm just saying it's helpful, but I'm just saying we shouldn't extrapolate that this result will be this because of these relationships or because Joe Biden needs it, everything you can get for election. It also could be that, DA is actually going to look at it, actually going to go through that 8-point process. And if it doesn't meet 2 or 3 or whatever their criteria, they may just go to Schedule 2. Now, I think it's likely to go to Schedule 3? Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying a lot of extrapolations and assumptions that may or may not be correct. So stick to facts. And if you work on that logic, you'll be okay.
Not trying to be frank, but it goes to Schedule 2, we're fucked.
We're not in this situation.
We're worse off than we are now. If it goes to Schedule 2.
Why do you say that versus Schedule 1?
The drugs that are in the drugs that are contained in Schedule 2, and then you're talking about being classified the same as fentanyl. Yeah, let's be real. You want to really schedule cannabis next to something that I can die from a contact overdose?
Yeah,
that just doesn't make any sense.
Just think of the optics of that too. Like, we come all this way, they, recommendation letter, safe banking, blah, 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 all that kind of thing. And then they just move it up a notch, which doesn't help 280E, doesn't really help the uplist issue probably. Like it's just a bad, like we fought all this way and tried to fight this big fight, and now we only move up one schedule that doesn't even help anybody, doesn't even really help the industry. So it would
Correct.
be a very bad reaction from the market if that would happen.
Well, let's look
Yes.
also. If this goes to a Schedule 3 drug, like Dems need a win. Like, how many more jobs will this create? I think we're floated around like between 100 and 200,000 new jobs right away pertaining to the industry. We need jobs right now. And I don't know.
No, we
Schedule
don't.
3?
We don't need jobs. We need jobs to go away. So Jay Powell starts moderating rates. It's the labor market right now that is that's causing him to do what he's doing. So,
But wouldn't that be more of a safe thing that creates the jobs, because that would open
safe
up
is
the
gonna.
access to banking?
I've seen. I
yeah.
saw a stat out there that it's going to create. I think it's around 200,000 to 300,000 potential jobs, if safe and rescheduling passes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, forward thinking. We got both Tim Seymour and Kim Rivers. Big lineup tomorrow on our YouTube channel. We'll be posting that on Friday. Some interesting things that we're probably going to want to ask Kim. Leave some comments below. Let us know some of the questions that you want us to ask pertaining to Kim. Obviously, a big conversation is possibilities of rec in Florida, and then as well just her sentiment related to last week's news. But clearly this industry is heating up, and a lot of the big names are starting to appear more and more again. And why not? It's time to get your names and voices out there, right?
Absolutely. It's time to start. It's here. Now it's time to get loud.
You wonder if you're starting to see more and more press releases and just ride off of this momentum in the coming weeks. And probably not a bad strategy.
I mean,
right?
the Canadian cannabis space, that press release playbook played very, very well into seeing stocks pop. So, I mean, I'm waiting to see some press releases from some companies.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty barren, I think, but just think of what happens in about 6 weeks, right? 6 weeks, we have SAFE, we have earnings reports for Q3 coming up mid-November. It's going to be, in November, is going to be in potentially a crazy time. And who knows, if DEA gets back at least a response within 90 days, within that mid-November to like mid-December window, you could have some, a lot of fireworks in the market.
Yeah, I was actually looking at MSOS calls around that today. To start to get so I did buy a whack of MSOS $10 calls today, but it was inadvertently. It was a fucking order that got hit on the intraday drop, which the calls wound up flat on the day. They're $10 calls for I think October 20th was the strike on them. Yeah, October 20th, $10 calls, which I didn't buy a lot. I bought 20. And they were 76 cents a pop.
Ben, walk us through again the 6 week timeline.
I was not happy though when the order hit though.
Walk us through the 6 week timeline as to what you're going to be watching closely when earnings season comes out to make this potentially a crazy November. But for the average investor that's getting into this space, or for those that are interested in getting back in, what are you watching closely, and what needs to happen to create more momentum pertaining to the industry heading into November?
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I don't think the earnings are going to be all that special this quarter. I think the consumer is very constrained, and there's still issues with pricing. What I do see is perhaps outsized earnings, maybe mid to high single digit, or even low double digit growth for some of the smaller operators with exposure to Maryland, Maramid, TerrAscend. Of course, the big operators have that exposure too, but as a percentage of overall footprint is less, so you're going to see less reaction or less overall revenue growth from that. But it's still going to be solid. I think it's they're adding the Maryland market, so revenues are probably going to increase, but overall maybe low to mid single digit. Some of the smaller operators, like I mentioned, with exposure, a high single digit, maybe low double digit growth sequentially.
So from a technicality standpoint, when you're saying like MSOs to maintain that 720 threshold, and we could see buying, selling, this sort of thing over the next month or so, what pertains again to that 6 week timeline as to like why it, like if it's stable at that level going into October, why is it fixated within that timeline?
Oh, right. That's because if we do get a retest again, the market could keep going higher. I mean, that's how broad and great the news is. So it's not a given that it's going to retest that 725. Ideally, it doesn't even get down to there, and we keep moving higher. That would be great, the greatest scenario for investors. But if we do get that retest, then every day that goes by, you're a little bit closer to that safe banking ruling. So if Chuck Schumer comes through and they do progress safe, through committee and then or even through the Senate, and you make some progress there, then investors are going to look at that things are progressing. A major federal reform win is on hand, and that's in addition to the rescheduling recommendation. So that's the catalyst that I believe even before today happened, that would move this higher, right, to the 10 level plus. Safe banking could do that along with rescheduling. So that's what you're gonna have to wait 6 weeks for that. The next 6 weeks between now and like earnings and safe banking,
So
it's
you
gonna be
guys
a very, very quiet news cycle, I think.
Oh, so you're thinking within 6 weeks, in 6 weeks from now, we could see some sort of announcement pertaining to reschedule and safe banking ruling is what you're thinking.
Not reschedule, but within 90 days, they might get a response.
Get a response within 90 days, yes. But what about the safe banking ruling?
All we need is safe banking momentum.
Sorry, go ahead.
We just need safe banking headlines, just updates. Just anything coming out of another GOP senator signing on. Chuck just getting loud and saying this is a priority as it comes to the Senate Banking Committee. That's all we need. We don't need vote. We don't need a formal vote. We just need headlines.
Yeah.
Just keep feeding headlines.
Material headlines.
Yeah,
right?
obviously material, but yeah.
Interesting times. I can't imagine what that'll do combined with this, and then all the momentum picking up in the fall. And then, if you do get a ruling sometime in Q1, then you're looking at, like you guys said, we got some real staying power here for the foreseeable future, which is great to see. I think a lot of people were curious to see if this is going to be short-lived, but after Labor Day weekend and heading into this week in the first 2 days, this is for real.
Yeah, it's very real.
And think of how many people are now looking for buy pullbacks. They're not willing to buy now. It's a little bit too high. They're going to see if levels hold now. If they do, you could have everybody with insiders starting to buy. Jason Wild, purchased, I believe yesterday, he purchased 100,000 shares.
Yeah,
he did.
You got people like investors with capital on the sideline looking to see where this goes, not willing to buy a 60-70% price appreciation or Ayr at a quadruple. They want to see where it goes and they want to see if it bases. So a lot of people are going to be looking at this industry now that it's at year-to-date highs, broke through key resistance levels, and now they're going to be looking for support. So if we hold that base as we get closer to those catalysts, then we could have like a real momentum second round over the next few weeks.
Yeah. If you want to learn more information, go on to thedalesreport.com. Make sure to subscribe to our TDR newsletter. Tomorrow morning, we're kicking it off. Daily newsletter pertaining to the cannabis industry. So make sure to log on to thedalesreport.com and subscribe, because we're going to give out all kinds of information pertaining how these markets will perform moving forward. And more importantly, have some pretty big name thought leaders within that vertical, or I should say newsletter, including Kim Rivers and Tim Seymour. We got Charlie Bachtel from Cresco Labs coming on next week. So the biggest names in the industry coming on our platform, giving you information that you want to know, learning from the best. Gents, happy trading, and we'll check back in with both of you guys tomorrow.
Talk soon.
All right, take care.
Bye.
What's up, everyone? So what'd you think of the interview? Are there any more questions you want us to ask that you want to learn more of? Then leave a comment below and let us know what you think. As usual, share this video with your network, smash that like button, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel, because we would not be here without you. Thanks for watching, everyone.